Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top 10 upgraded Pokemon for the Open Great League for this season. I have to say before we start, it was a little bit difficult to actually find 10 Pokemon that really got upgraded directly for this season that are like way better or whatever. So they're going to be some that are going to be a little bit more of a smaller upgrade, but there are also going to be some Pokemon, which you most likely noticed already as well, that are going to have huge upgrades, and we're going to talk about this today. If you enjoy this type of videos, would really appreciate if you leave a like and subscribe. We're getting close to the 50-50 split for subscribed and not subscribed, so feel free to do so. And let's move on to the first Pokemon, and it's going to be Obstagoon. Obstagoon is an interesting pick, and this Pokemon got upgraded with the cross chop doing more damage. Night Slash was usually always like the no-brainer, where you went ahead and went just a straightforward cross chop. Now still going to be weaker because Night Slash going to have a stab bonus, which is 20%, and so it's still going to be a little bit better than cross chop, but cross chop going to give you an option to hit Pokemon like Lickitung, like Registeel, like those steel type Pokemon, those normal type Pokemon, those rock type Pokemon for harder damage, as you already have counter anyway. Going to be a small upgrade for this Pokemon for sure. Going to only increase its average rating by 12, but also going to pick up 3 more wins, which can be very cool as well. What I have to say though about this Pokemon, it is very likely that Cresselia is going to be very common, as well as Lickitung. Cresselia recently was in the quest, so like basically nearly everybody is going to have access to this Pokemon. And so I would imagine that Obstagoon is going to have a lot of play for the upcoming season as well. Going to be able to double resist, like actually triple resist the fast move of Feraligatr, of Shadow Claw. So this Pokemon is going to be a little bit more of a cheaper, spicier pick, but I think it's going to actually have more play next season compared to this season. It's also one reason why I have it in here. Moving on to the second one, they're going to be some that you already saw in the video earlier on. If you haven't checked this one out, I went over all the added and buffed moves for the season already in the video earlier on. Definitely check this one out as well. Going to be linked in the end card, so you don't have to click anywhere. But let's move on here to the second one, which is going to be Sealeo. Again, we don't know directly yet how much energy Water Pulse is. This stat here right now is going to be with 55 energy. Like we know already, it's going to go from 70 damage to 80 damage. But if it goes from 60 energy to 50 or 45 energy, this Pokemon going to be even better. That's why it's kind of ranked a little bit lower right now, but I still think that Sealeo with a Water Pulse is going to have a little bit more of an impact this season, going to still get to the Body Slam insanely fast, and so might be even better than Walrein this season. We're going to have to see about this as well, but I feel like Sealeo has a lot of potential. Definitely make sure to try this one out. Also going to be very decent against most of the water type Pokemon that are currently being everywhere. Moving on, we're going to have Hippowdon next. Hippowdon was also already in a slide in the video earlier. Hippowdon is going to get access to the move Sand Attack, and Sand Attack is going to be a one-turn fast move that's going to do 2 damage and generates 4 energy, being a clone of Feraligatr. But this is going to help this Pokemon out quite a bit, as you're going to have access to Weather Ball as a great bait move, going to be a rock type coverage, it's kind of rare, and going to be very cool for flying type Pokemon, for bug type Pokemon, which you mostly never really going to encounter. But you're going to have just the very fast and harder hitting Sand Attack then as well, compared to something like a Mudshot, which is going to be great against Pokemon like a Bastion, like a Lantern. Against those going to be great. Going to be very difficult against all the water type Pokemon though, so you definitely have to be a little bit prepared against those, but I still think that this Pokemon has a lot of potential for the upcoming season. Most likely even a little bit better in the Ultra League, which we're gonna talk a little bit about in like a week or something, but let's move on to Pokemon number 4. This is going to be Dragonair. Dragonair was also, no, actually wasn't in the video earlier on. Dragonair getting buffed Awkward Tail is not going to change too much. You see here an overall rating of like average of +4. The thing why I really want to put the Dragonair in here as well is that Dragonair has potential to be even better the next season, because you're going to have even more water type Pokemon, and this Pokemon is really easily able to beat most of the water type Pokemon, especially as the Shadow variant of this one. It's so good at basically realigning in the 2-shield scenario, and the Awkward Tail getting a buff going to allow you to hit Pokemon like Steel types a little bit easier, like something like a Registeel for a little bit more damage, which is going to be great. And so I would imagine that Dragonair is going to be even more common, going to also be able to hit something like a Bastion and something like a Galarian Stunfisk for harder, super effective damage, which is going to be even better for you. So I would imagine that the Awkward Tail change is not going to make like the huge amount of difference there or whatever, but it's still going to make this Pokemon even more common, even stronger for the next season, which I don't know if we really needed this, but it is what it is, I would say. Number 5, Honestly, this is mostly my personal favorite change because I just like this Pokemon a lot. It is a little bit risky to play, but Machamp getting access to a better cross chop is going to help this Pokemon out quite a bit, gaining 2 more wins, plus gaining 20 average rating. And also, if you can take a look at this, you're going to be able to beat LilyNiRiain easily. You're going to be able to beat something like a Skarmory easily, something like a Lantern. You just outspeed most Pokemon because you just need 5 counters to go for a cross chop. And now, as cross chop is buffed, it's going to help this Pokemon out really a lot. But issue for this Pokemon is there are quite a few very hard answers to it. Like something like a Gligar is going to be very tough for you. Something like an Annihilate is going to completely wall your entire moveset, and that's going to be a little bit annoying. So Machamp still, I think, is going to be a great Pokemon to use, but it's going to be a little bit tough sometimes. Still think that we're going to see Machamp really quite often, to be fair. Like, I think it's going to be a pretty common Pokemon, but there's going to be a different fighting type that's also going to get buffed, which is not the next one, but the next one after. But the next one is going to be, oh, actually, maybe there's one even in between still. Next one is going to be Goodra. Goodra had access to Muddy Water as well as Power Whip. Muddy Water has, like, I think a 30% chance to drop the opponent's attack, which is kind of cool, but it's very, yeah, luck dependent, and so, like, it's not really consistent. While now Goodra got access to the move Awkward here, giving it a better average rating, but also gonna put to, like, I think it's like rank 18 or something, I don't know, like rank 20 or something for PV Poke as well, which is going to be kind of great for this thing. So it got actually a higher ranking than I expected for this thing. I am doubtful that this Pokemon is actually as good as it kind of showcases on PV Poke. I think it's going to be worse. I think it's going to be worse than also the Shadow Dragonair, but still Goodra is going to be very interesting to play. You're going to have also some play in the Ultra League, not so much in the Master League, because for Master League, you're just going to have the, what's called the Palkia Origin form, which also has Dragon Breath and also has the Awkward here, but it's Stab, so no real reason to run Goodra currently in the Master League. But Goodra also still going to have a regional form eventually, which is going to give it the extra typing of Steel, which is going to be great. Wonder when we're gonna get this. It was like something that I expected for the Sinnoh Tour because it's like an Hisuian form, but I guess we still have to wait for the Goodra with the Steel typing. But when we're gonna get this, it's going to be a great Pokemon to play, so going to be interesting then for sure. Next one, Hakamo-o. Actually is a fighting type, so I wasn't even wrong with it. It's not the fighting type that I was expecting, but Hakamo-o getting access to Brick Break. I think this Pokemon going to be better than people actually expect, because I saw people hitting Legend and stuff like this with this Pokemon already the last 2 or 3 seasons, and so I think that this Pokemon actually has a lot of potential. Climbing up like 7 wins here as well with the update of Brick Break, allowing you to drop the defense, but you need 5 more energy, is going to help this Pokemon out quite a bit. And so I expect that this Pokemon is going to be not everywhere, but a little bit more common than it is usually. Definitely a solid Pokemon, especially with Dragon Tail and yeah, basically a defense drop possibility there with Brick Break. It's going to be very difficult to deal with it in a 2-shield scenario, and so maybe it's a great lead to run right now in the current meta as well. Then moving on, we're going to have the next one. This was the fighter that I was actually most excited about. Gallade is one of my favorite Pokemon. I got to rank 1 in the world with Gallade, Shadow Gallade back in the day, and so this Pokemon, yeah, kind of has like a place in my heart, but like it's going to get Psycho Cut, and this is going to help this Pokemon out so much. The thing is, you have Close Combat, which is a high damage stab move, which you're going to be able to get, I think, after like 5 fast moves, which is kind of insane. And then you have Leaf Blade, which is a non-stab, but like basically the best charge move in the game. It's like 70 damage or 35 energy, which is insane, and you only need 4 fast moves to get to it. And that's gonna give you coverage against something like, yeah, basically against everything. Like, I think this Pokemon is going to be amazing, especially as a lead, because against something like the Whiscash, you're going to be able to outspeed it with a Leaf Blade. Against Pokemon like, I don't know, LilyNiRiain, you can just go for a Close Combat and dip afterwards. Like, I think Gallade is going to be one of the coolest Pokemon to run. Can't wait to try this one out. Shadow variant especially looks really cool. So this Pokemon is insanely squishy as well, so it's going to be a fun one to play, and I can't wait to try it out as well in the Ultra League. So Gallade, one of my favorite updates for sure, but now we're gonna go in general, like from Gallade, and the next 2 going to be the most important updates anyway. Next one, Empoleon, especially the Shadow Empoleon, going to be great. This is actually one of the Pokemon that I suggested as well as an update for the next season in my videos earlier on before, like a month ago or something, and definitely one of the Pokemon that I really wanted to get the move Steel Wing, and then they finally gave it Steel Wing, and with this Pokemon is going to be back in the meta. This Pokemon has great typing, only being weak to like fighting, electric, and ground, I think. It's going to make this Pokemon a really bulky wall, like water and steel together as a great type combination, and you see it already as well, like you have like so many matchups that you can win now. Shadow variant is going to be a little bit better for you, but Steel Ring going to generate energy a little bit faster. I think it does kind of similar damage to Waterfall as well, and then you have Hydro Cannon plus Drill Peck, which is going to be insane coverage as well for this Pokemon. Can't wait to try it out. It's going to be so good to play. Definitely something I look forward to. Very solid Pokemon, and let's move on to the last one for today, which is going to be Feraligatr. Feraligatr right now, before I had a Waterfall, Hydro Cannon, Crunch as your preferred moveset, having 6 wins and 37 losses. And they gave it Shadow Claw, which was also something I suggested prior as well. And yeah, going from 6 wins to 27 wins in the 555 average rating, which is I think one of the best in the Great League, is kind of mad. You're running Ice Beam for coverage for Dragon type Pokemon plus Grass type Pokemon, which would be a little bit tricky for the water typing of this Pokemon, and it's just going to be such a fun Pokemon to play. This is going to be the best upgrade of them all. Can't wait to try it out. But yeah, this is going to be also it for the video. Like, those Pokemon going to be the most insane updates for the next season. I'm going to try to make now also some teams with them, so hopefully I'm going to make this video later on as well. But otherwise, there's going to be a lot more content before the season even starts for the season here on this channel, so feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.